from Glenwood Road, 37701 Glenwood Road in Wayne, Michigan. It is I, the one and only Versace Vince, not wearing Versace's today. I'm throwing a curveball at you today. No, I feel like being a little kinky today, that's all. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm gonna cut this timber. I'm gonna cut this big old cottonwood tree about, man, probably more than 2 foot wide. Yeah, about 24, 25 feet of width. Real tall, straight. Nice tree. Nice tree. Time to say goodnight. Time to say goodnight. But yeah, we're gonna get rid of that poplar tree, of course, and we're gonna cut this up. We're gonna cut this youngin' up. I got my wedges, so I'll be able to get those cuts on. We'll get that all cleaned up, and we're gonna get this one cleaned up as well. We're gonna get it off of that one that it's leaning on, because we want to keep that tree. We want to keep that tree in the drain there. So we're gonna get rid of those two, and we're gonna chop up that little cherry tree down there. Chop that up, and then we're gonna chop this up as well. Hopefully we don't fall into the drain, but we'll see. And then we got to clear out this too, because we need to be able to access this walkway and get into the back portion of our property, which I will give you a tour of. Here it is. Here is the property. And beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But this is the protected wetland portion. This is where probably clean some of this, these dead logs and debris up. Looks like somebody was cutting some firewood back here. Looks like somebody's been cutting some firewood. But yeah, this is the portion that we're gonna keep natural. Obviously, this is the protected wetland, but we're probably gonna plant. Maybe we could probably get a tree right here. There's some open spots. Some trees have died. And then clean up the forest floor a little bit and plant some more trees. Increase the biodiversity, right? Because right now all we have is just cottonwood trees and, nothing else. So, but yeah, a lot of these trees look healthy. They look good. Kind of crazy, twisted. I don't know, it looks like, I don't know what that is. Looks like maybe, it broke off. Or somebody was cutting off something back here. Somebody was cutting off something and then just stopped. So that very well could have been, yeah, it looks like somebody cut that. Because this is quite old. This is, this stuff's rotting. I mean, this isn't from any time in the last, it's been a while. But yeah, there's some looks like some stuff that either broke off or was cut off, and then somebody was cutting it up. You can see it all over here. So I don't know. Strange stuff in Wayne, Michigan, but overall not bad. Not too shabby. So, got a little bit of work to do. I mean, you got this dead ass tree that, they serve ecological purposes. But yeah, like this over here. Anything where you can't access the drain, right, is obviously a problem. You know, we want to make sure that this flood drain is usable and functional, right? So, but yeah, it is pretty. It is pretty. In some regards, it's pretty, but yeah, like this over here, all of this. This is all my property right here. So looks like some old firewood of some sort. Somebody, but yeah, just needs to be cleaned up a little bit so we can access, especially this right here. This is obviously a big problem that we have to get addressed, because this is the Hunter drain. This property, or this drain rather, this flood drain, it splits my property in half. And the Wayne County Drain Commission came out and removed a lot of stuff, but they did really well over here on this side for the most part. But once they got closer to this part of the property, this tree's mine. This tree I gotta move, but this old dead shit should have been dragged out, because eventually it's just gonna continue to decompose, and then it's gonna well, it's eventually gonna fall into the Hunter drain, and then it's gonna cause sediment, and it's, you know, basically what will happen is this drain will have to be dredged, which of course, you know, if you can prevent a problem from happening, then by all means, you know, you should clean things up and, you know, make things look more proper, you know, because obviously the, you know, nature is going to take its course, and you know, nature is going to do what nature does. And so damn, Big Mike Audits, what up? You just got done bringing in firewood and stuff. Yeah, dude, come get some, dude. I got a lot. I got a nice guy in the community named Muhammad. He's from Syria, and hard to understand. His English is very broken, but I communicate with him through somebody else, and he does tree service. And I'm up in the Upper Peninsula. Damn, what part, dude? I'm gonna have to make a road trip, dude. Come hang out with you. Send me a message. Jericho Flowers 81. Jericho Flowers with an S 81 at Gmail. Send me an email and we'll link up, dude. Yeah, UP, man. I need a reason to go up there. It's beautiful. God's country. You know, I'm trying to replicate some of the UP here, down here in Wayne, but, you know, we just got something unique here that we have to. Curtis, Michigan. Okay. I've never heard of it. I'll look it up. And I'm not too familiar with the UP. Fun fact about me, I did win the geography bee in 6th grade. Don't really know how I did that, but I was going up against this Mexican kid, and he literally just kept guessing Mexico, and he was right. He kept getting it right. So the last time I'm not gonna lie, guys, I started copying him. You know, I could see him writing down Mexico, so I started guessing Mexico too, and I ended up winning because about 2 weeks prior, our 6th grade teacher, Dr. Warshevsky, you know, Slavic dude, real nice guy, and excellent teacher. And he was teaching us about, there was a lake, I think it's called Great Bear Lake in Canada. But it was, I guess the lake rests on 2 different of their provinces. And one of them was Saskatchewan. And I guess Saskatchewan, because it was referencing like what 2 provinces does Great Bear Lake fall upon or something. That was the question. And I just said Saskatchewan. I got it right, and I won the GOB. It was pretty sweet. But kind of, I don't know, like every once in a while you kind of luck into stuff, right? Like you had to take this test, and they test your geography knowledge, and I guess I had above average geography knowledge. I mean, small school, to be fair. Joe Cotton, what up, dude? I subscribe to Big Mike Audits. Yeah, Big Mike Audits. That's a sick name, dude. I'll check your channel out and give you a sub and see what you're doing up in the UP. Is it similar up in the UP? Is the just wide scale blatant constitutional rights violations. Is that like common up there as well? Is that just kind of like par for the course? Or, I would think they'd be a little bit better, more conservative, more constitutionally minded, less liberal, I guess, in some parts. So, which, again, I don't really, the conservative and liberal labels, I don't put a lot of merit behind them because I understand how ambiguous they are. And I understand that, not so much that the parties switched, right? Because that's just a bull-faced lie that's pushed by Democrats. But, I understand that ideologies change. I understand that the definitions of words have changed, um, you know, throughout it. It used to be the Federalist and the Whig Party. And, obviously, Abraham Lincoln, the GOP and all that, which is probably what I'm more aligned with, right? I certainly don't align with the GOP on everything, but I would say the majority of things, I think they have it certainly more right than the Democrats do. But I understand that that's all really just two entrances to the slaughterhouse. And so, I don't put a lot of, obviously, it's like, hey, if you got to pick, cat shit or dog shit, that's your only choice. Well, then I guess, I'll take the cats because at least they cover their shit up, right? So I don't know. I guess it's like pick the less of two evils. That's kind of our choice in the systems, right? In the election system. And so, but I would think it would be a little bit better, but unfortunately, as Big Mike audits is stating here in his comment, it's common everywhere, bro. Some places are just worse than others. Delta County seems to be the worst at this point. Delta County seems to be the worst at this point. Yeah, what's going on in Delta County, man? That sounds like a story that we need to run. And that's really because the state of Michigan is such a large state. Here's a little geography fact. It actually is the biggest state in the country, east of the Mississippi, land mass wise. So a lot of people don't know that. They don't realize how big Michigan actually is from one point to another. But that, if you include the lakes, that is, if you include the lakes, then we have more land. But we're second to Georgia or Florida, I believe, because Georgia and Florida are really big states as well. But up here in the Midwest, up north, Michigan is the biggest state by far, and it's a place that stretches. I mean, you can go from the UP to Detroit, like from one tip to the other, and I mean you're talking like a 7-hour drive, or more, 7.5 hours, if you're coming from like Iron Mountain or something. So yeah, it's a pretty vast place, and unfortunately, as Big Mike audits here is stating, there's a lot of problems. A lot of problems in the state of Michigan. A lot of constitutional right violations. Because one thing to know about the state of Michigan too, guys, is the Upper Peninsula has about 250,000 or so people, probably about 300,000 people total. So it's very remote. It's very small town oriented, small town communities. Everybody kind of knows everybody. You got to travel great distances to get anywhere, to do anything. But it's nice. I mean, like I said, it really is. And it's very remote. And when something happens, word tends to get around very quickly, right? And so, for him to be saying that there's, it's everywhere. I mean, that's, the police, state troopers. Yeah, I mean, the thing is like up there, they don't get a lot of, visitors, I guess. The UP doesn't get that many visitors. So, yeah, I could see that. They'd be more aggressive. And, again, too, like some of these areas are so small, right, that, it's unlikely that they're going to get any substantial news coverage, which really shocked me about, you know, me being here in Wayne, right? Being in Wayne County, right in the middle of Wayne County. And, you know, the city of Wayne has, you know, to their credit, somewhat successfully kept it, you know, under wraps. They've kept it at the district court level. They've kept it out of Wayne County Circuit Court. And, you know, it's very telling, right? When you are, you know, so close to the airport's, you know, 10 miles away, not even 10 miles away. And, yeah, I mean, to just be so close to Detroit and Ann Arbor and the city center and where all the population is, and to be going through this is wild, you know. But, you know, it's kind of crazy, man, the state of Michigan. I grew up in Monroe County, and I've never heard good things about Wayne County. Yeah, I mean, that's certainly true. I mean, Detroit is, you know, obviously a huge shit stain on the whole county. And then, of course, you have, you know, other cities that aren't really any better than Detroit. In a lot of ways, they're just Detroit, but they're mini Detroit, right? So, you know, there's a lot of other towns that are extremely corrupt, and a lot of good content to be had in the state of Michigan. Although I think some people are learning that, you know, it might be more advantageous if you're going to cover corruption and scandals in the state of Michigan, which there are certainly plenty of. I would probably do it from like a state like Indiana, or a state that has more civil liberty oriented. Obviously, Indiana is a pretty fucked up state in its own right, as is Ohio and Minnesota for sure, with the, you know, Somalian takeover over there. So, yeah, I mean, it's the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, is run by a bunch of fucking idiots, right? And dangerously incompetent idiots, you know, right? When you combine incompetence with insidiousness and maliciousness and vindictiveness, and, you know, with, how do I say, not good intentions, right? Well, incompetence and non-good intentions is a dangerous combination, as we're uncovering and as we're learning, and it has real consequences on people's lives, right? And, you know, my son, he's 3 years old. He's verbally autistic, and, you know, a great child. Been an absolute blessing to be his father. But I've been taken away from him for, you know, literally 6 months, right? I mean, I spent over 3 months incarcerated, and I had house arrest, and, you know, I was estranged. I was banished from my community. I was estranged from my family. Right? I was ripped away from my family, because why? Right? Not because I actually broke a law, right? You know, the first two charges, right? I mean, from May 9th, right? The May 9th charge is a complete, obviously we've discussed that at lengths. That's a complete fucking joke. And then, you know, the May 10th, right, where I threatened or used obscene telecommunications against a public official. Well, a key word here is public official, right? When somebody authors a non-codified policy and then that's used to violate my rights, well, yeah, I have a few questions that need to be asked, right? I have a right to ask a few questions and demand that the illegal, clearly, obviously, without question, these illegal fucking searches and seizures have to come to an end, or I'm going to start exercising my rights, right? Second Amendment. I'm not just going to allow you to just come walk into my fucking property whenever you feel like it, right? Because you want to inspect something, right? Well, there's this thing called the 4th and the 14th Amendment, right? You know, there's this thing called the void for vagueness doctrine. There's these things called, hey, go fuck yourself, right? That's what it boils down to. Unless there's a life or death emergency, or you have a search warrant, right? Because then if someone gives you a search warrant, well, then it becomes, well, what was said that was used to obtain this search warrant, and then if that search warrant's issued improperly, well, then we go after the judge, right? But, you know, they do this by design, guys. They do this so that way it's all about plausible deniability, right? Why do you not want to have a strong mayor system where the people can go to one person and things can get done? Well, it's very simple, guys. because then it's really simple to point the finger at, well, things aren't going well. Who's the problem? Well, one person. Well, then you get rid of that one person and you revote them. See, but this rule by committee shit, it's by design, right? So these people can be incompetent and they can be malicious and vindictive against people, and they can weaponize the law against people. And then they can sit back and point the finger at everybody else and say, well, it's above my head. It's above my head. I'm not responsible. It's somebody else is responsible. Then you go to the person who's supposedly responsible, right? The chief of police, the chief fire chief, right? You go to the fire chief and the chief of police, and you go to the city manager, and then you're being told by all three of them that this whole situation's above their heads, right? Right. These people sat in every city council meeting, right? Right. But it's above their head. Well, who's above the city manager, right? Who's above the city manager? In a council manager system, right, which is what the city of Wayne is, which a lot of small towns are. Well, in a council manager system, the responsibility falls on the city manager, right? Well, who controls the city manager? Is the city manager voted in? No, the city manager is not voted in. The city manager is hired and approved by the council. So the city manager does whatever the council says. If the city manager doesn't do what the council says, because the council runs the city, well, then guess what? The city manager gets fired and they vote her out and hire somebody else. So it's all plausible deniability, guys, at the end of the day, right? And that system fosters this type of corruption because it allows them to rule by committee where, obviously the city manager, the mayor, right, the city attorney, right, the judge, right, those are the most powerful people in the room, right? The fire marshal, yeah, he sits in every meeting, right? So he sits in every meeting, and so is the chief of police. So they're all well aware, right? They're all well aware of McFarland. That's why they don't want to release any discovery since I moved here, right? Well, let's see all the video discovery. Well, no, we want $20,000. Well, no, I want you to go fuck yourself is what I want, because I'm going to get it for free because it's in the public interest, right? And so I'm going to get it for free, and you can go fuck yourself. But that's the reason why we don't have the full story yet, right? Because what they're trying to do is put some distance between them and me and prevent me from getting the discovery. And basically they hope that, I guess, I'm going to run out of money or, whatever, right? Run out of hope, run out of money, or they're just going to try to kill me, guys. And as I said, again, I'm not suicidal or homicidal. I love myself. I love my creator, and I love my family. And I would never kill myself. And I would never commit an act of violence towards another human being unless absolutely forced to, right? Like somebody is breaking into my home and they're trying to violate the sanctity of my home or my family's safety or my safety or the safety of someone else in my home, right? Like basically, if someone is going to transgress unlawfully, if they're going to trespass upon me, and they're going to try to cause me great bodily harm, try to kidnap me, throw me in a cage, shoot me, anything like that, well, then, yeah, obviously that's self-defense, and that's why the Second Amendment exists. That's why the Second Amendment exists, guys. And telling someone to stop illegally breaking into your house, enforcing a law that doesn't exist, that has no legislative authority, telling someone to stop breaking into your house and terrorizing your family, or you're going to exercise your legal right of Second Amendment, well, that's not a crime, right? That's not a threat. Right. It's a conditional statement. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to do something legal against you if you keep on doing something illegal against me. That was the message, point blank, and of course, as we all know, we're allowed to redress our grievances and we're allowed to petition our government. Right. And we're allowed to ask questions. And, when you authored the policy and gave the orders to break into my house to enforce a law that doesn't exist without a warrant, well, let's just say, yeah, I'm going to have a few fucking questions for you. Jeremy Schneider at the Wayne. That's why I said, you guys really, this is what I don't understand, right, is people want to, go after the Wayne PD and criticize them. And it's a fair criticism. Don't get me wrong, guys. But really where the blame lies is in the fire department. The fire department that shouldn't even exist, that up until 10 years ago didn't even exist. It was disbanded, right? And then they recommissioned it about 10 years ago for seemingly no fucking reason, because we've had a total of 3 fires in the city of Wayne since they were recommissioned. And, 3 fires. And it's like, well, shit, Westland over here across the street, literally across the street, they're building fire stations like crazy, and they have a few just within a mile or so. Canton has a bunch. It's just simply redundant, and it's just simply a way to drain the taxpayer of more resources is all it is. But let's get back to our, I know I'm snapping a little bit here. I apologize. Let me get back to the comments. Crawford Bad. I'm 45. I have a Gen X point of view, says Big Mike Audits. Yeah, I'm a millennial. I'm a really old, I guess an old millennial, kind of in those tweener years. Press with Rancorn got arrested in Escanabo for videoing. Yeah. Oh, I believe it. I mean, these, like I said, they're not, once you understand, which of course, obviously all you guys understand, but the key is spreading public awareness, right? The average police officer has less training than a fucking cosmetologist or a barber, right? So think of it, right? You need more training hours to cut hair than you need to, have a gun, be able to, at least in that moment have the authority, right? Because who the fuck's stopping them, right? I mean, if the police's logic is, well, we got a call, right? We got a call, so that means we can violate your rights, right? If that's the precedent, which seemingly it is, because that's what the police continue over and over and over and over and over. That's what they continue to do, right? Is just woefully violate your rights, and you'll say, well, what? Right? Against your will. And then what the courts do is they ratify these behaviors, and they uphold them a lot of times. Right? I mean, look at my case at the 29th District Court with Brita O'Leary, and the 35th District Court with Judge James Plakas, right? Just take a look at the type of stuff that the local district courts here, the 29th and the 35th, just take a look at what they've ratified. Just take a look at what they've ratified over the past, 6 months, right? Constitutional rights violation after constitutional rights violation. Constitutional rights violations from the moment it began. Right? The moment that they stepped on, the moment that that police officer opened his mouth on May 9th on body camera and said, you guys know who this is? You guys know who this is? Right? Well, that proves that there's animus. That proves that there's a history, right? Which how the hell do you have a history with the police in a year? Is this guy a felon? Does this guy have a criminal record? Nope, none of any kind. Up until this point, zero, zilch, nada, not a single one. Well, you're like, okay, so the guy's got no criminal history. He's an upstanding member of the community, and he's running for office. And he's got an immigrant wife, and he's a pillar of his community. And he's a disabled veteran, graduated from a military college. So why are you fucking with this guy? Well, as again, right? What's the answer? Well, it's very simple, guys. The answer is the city of Wayne has told on themselves again and again and again and again on May 9th, right? On the body cam. And then on May 19th, when they're talking about the Facebook videos, right? About, oh, this is going to end up on Facebook, one of his Facebook videos, Facebook Live, right? Well, there you go. Well, what was the Facebook account? Oh, DeVince McFarland for mayor 2024. That was the Facebook account. Mayor Vince, the Mayor Vince Facebook. Oh, well, but they're going to continue to say I wasn't running for office, right? Because it's a catch-22, because you got to live in the city for a year to even be able to be on the official ballot. So I hadn't lived in the city long enough, nothing I could have done. Just simple fact of the matter. And so, instead of being, truthful and honest and actually stating that and being like, well, Mr. McFarland ran as a write-in candidate because, couldn't be on the official ballot here. But yeah, he did run for office, and he has obviously been committed to continuing to run for office. And yeah, I mean, what do you got to get? 50 votes, 50 or 100 petitions? What is it? How many signatures do you got to get? It's nothing, right? The guy that ran in 2020 didn't campaign a dollar, didn't spend a dollar, didn't campaign one ounce of effort. He literally just got on the official ballot, got 50 or 100 people to sign a petition for him. And he almost won. He was within like 50 or 100 votes. Pretty crazy, right? Well, I intend to be that guy, except, obviously going to spend a little money and, pursue a little effort, right? And then, of course, I'm going to have other people as well run for office. So it's not just going to be me. It's going to be 3 or 4 other people as well running alongside me. So, we're going for the actual votes, right? We're going for the power, the majority vote. And, once you have that, then you set the agenda, and then that's what gets carried out. And anything that's not on the agenda that doesn't improve the lives of Wayne citizens and improve the life of Wayne citizens, that means lower taxes, right? That doesn't mean, we have more worthless police that we don't need and more worthless firemen that we don't need, right? We hired more people to be a drain on the tax system and on the budget, and we've increased the budget, and that means that you're going to pay more in taxes, people, the taxes you already can't afford. But don't worry, because we got another police officer and we got 2 more firemen. I know there's only 3 fires a year here, and there's really no justification whatsoever for having a full-time fire department in this town, especially considering how big, neighboring Westland's fire department is, and, Canton and fucking Romulus and Inks. I mean, no, there's absolutely no reason for it. And you can't mathematically justify it. It's just that simple. And, that's what I mean when I say quality of life. That means you're going to pay less in taxes, and you're going to keep more of your money, right? The money that you go to work for, the money that you go, it doesn't matter what you do. If you stand out on the corner, shake your ass, if you go to work, punch a clock, I mean, however it is that you make a living and contribute to society, you should keep more of what you make, right? That's the simple, easiest way to put it. And, obviously that's going to require some changes, right? Because you can't just expend and expend and expend more money, right? And then just think, I just can increase my budget and I don't have to start cutting anything back or saving more, right? I can just do what I want. And somehow the math will work out in my favor. Well, that's not how it works, right? That's how it works in the city of Wayne right now, right? They just, hope and pray and just, kind of have this shotgun approach, right? And, we got to lie to you and tell you that we're necessary for quality of life. Well, no, you're not. Obviously, right? When the police's mission statement talks about the Michigan State Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, that's the mission statement of the city of Wayne, right? Which actually, to be fair, is a pretty decent mission statement if they would follow it, right? If they actually lived that mission statement, well, man, the city of Wayne would be a pretty nice place to fucking live. And by intents and purposes, it is a pretty nice place to fucking live, except for the government, right? So, get rid of the fire department. Maybe I'd increase, the percentage of the DPW budget. But of course, you'd have to have checks and balances, right? Like, we're not just gonna, like, and the people that we do retain and the people that we do employ, well, they actually need to be working, right? They need to be furthering the agenda of the mayor, of the people, right? And the council at large, right? Because, like I said, we'll just get three or four people to run right alongside with me, which we've already got those people, which is just hilarious, right? Because, just so you guys understand, right? Just so you understand the dynamics. These city of Wayne council people, I'll call them because they're not men, right? There's no council men up there. So these council women, the council women in the city council, it's run all exclusively by women, by females. These people don't get very many votes, right? Like, they get a few hundred votes. Most of the time, they don't even have a challenger, right? Let's just say my wife and her friends and the other people that we're not going to announce just yet because we don't want the city of Wayne to harass them. Because that's what they do, right? So instead of announcing it, we're just gonna say, my wife and I obviously are running. We know people that are going to be running alongside with us, and we all happen to just have the same agenda, right? And just like their majority has stranglehold the city of Wayne, Well, it's just because really there's no leaders, there's no thinkers, right? There's no people that are willing to call bullshit out. And, there's nobody in the city council that's willing to call a spade or call nigga bullshit when they see nigga bullshit, right? Because that is a real thing, right? Nigga bullshit is a real thing. And, when I see nigga bullshit after nigga bullshit after nigga bullshit, and I'm supposed to just keep on ignoring it, right? Well, I unfortunately, due to my dyslexia, right, due to my ADHD, due to the traumatic brain injuries that have occurred in my life, I don't have the ability to just ignore corruption, dishonesty, things that just don't make any sense, right? Like the math just ain't mathing, right? And you do the math in your head 1,000 times and it still ain't mathing. And the only way that it maths is, something horrible. Well, I can't ignore that. Some people can. Some people can just go to work and their boss can be going to Epstein Island, and nobody says nothing, nobody knows nothing, and everybody just kind of goes their own little way, and don't I got to go along to get along, because that's a lot of people in government are just cucks, right? I'll tell you the truth, right? This is the God honest truth, guys. The average person in local government, state government, federal government, doesn't matter. These people, by and large, are cucks, are losers, are fucking insecure people. These are people that don't really have anything good to contribute to the world, right? So they have to hijack a system, right? And they have to basically find ways to justify their existence, right? And the reason they do that, well, it's easy money, right? I mean, why would they want to have to get up and go drive for Lyft, or go drive a taxi, or go be a bartender, or go have a real job, right? Like why would these people want to have real jobs, right? When they can just steal money from you, the productive person who's working, and they can slush the money around, right? And then they can pay for a make-believe bullshit fire department, a make-believe bullshit police department, because it's plausible deniability, right? And you can have that. You can have that, and this is the result of it. Your civil rights are just eroded, right? It becomes a tyrannical rule by committee, rule by force. You're gonna confide. You're gonna confer. You're gonna fucking what's the word? You're gonna comply, right? You're gonna comply with the status quo. You're gonna confer with it. You're going to boy, what's the real word I'm looking for? What's the real word? You're going to be, you're going to concur with it. There we go. Concur. Yeah. Comply or else. Exactly, Big Mike. Let's see. Let's read some of the comments here. The auditor, Henry, he tried to do Indiana. He's been nothing but in jail and hasn't broken any laws. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't audit in Indiana, but I think Michigan is one of those places where obviously you got to have well, it's not so much anymore. See, the landscape of this legal system is changing, and a lot of people can feel it, and I certainly can, right? They're obviously very intimidated by AI. They're obviously very intimidated by the fact that an AI program who has read and consumed tens of thousands of legal documents and books and data, right, inputs, right, this AI can memorize all of this and be able to cite it and refer it better than any human can, for sure, and can do it in such a way where the average human of average intelligence couldn't notice the pattern that the AI can notice, right? And so what they're really scared of is losing their monopoly on their power, right? And this is their power, right? Where they can weaponize the legal system against people. They can drag you out of your house if they want. They can, kidnap you, throw you in a dungeon. They can trespass on your private property to enforce laws that don't even exist, right? Without a warrant, right? It's just like, what's the solution to it, guys? Well, it can't run, I mean, I guess you could. You could run down to maybe North Florida. Maybe you could go to Destin or something. And, you know, you could be down in hot-ass swampy Georgia. But, hey, maybe that's what needs to be done, right? Maybe, you know, people like, yeah, you know, you love Michigan, you love Indiana. Hey, I love it too. But, you know, having a place to go into hiding, I think that's what it's going to become more and more in this country is you're going to have like red states, blue states, and you're going to have a situation where you're either, you know, if you want to cover a story, you're going to have to do it remotely, or obviously that's not as effective. So you got to have a place to go, man. You got to have a place to, you know, it's sad to say, but, you know, auditing is becoming the most dangerous profession in the United States, right? It's more dangerous than logging, really, you know, because in auditing, man, like, you know, people think, oh, I have rights, and it's like, yeah, on paper, technically you do, but if some Momo fucking micro penis cop is having a bad day, or the prosecutor doesn't like you, or she's having a bad day, or what have you, or the judge is having a bad day, or the judge is just a dumbass and doesn't know anything, or they're just evil, right? Which obviously evil people get into government all the time. Well, you better have a place to fucking go, man, if you're going to be in this line of work. That's all I can say. This big ass bad line of work of auditing and keeping tyrants held accountable, right? Accountability and transparency, right? If you're willing to be in that line of work, guys, well, you got to be willing to think ahead, right? But yeah, Indiana, that's a corrupt place. Ohio, definitely. Minnesota, I mean, fuck, Tim Walz, right? You got a retard for governor. Well, he's not a retard, guys. Like I said, that's called malicious incompetence, right? That's where you have ill will and ill intent, but you just, you know, kind of act like you're a bumbling idiot, right? You're a knucklehead, right? Yeah, that's what that's the mask, right? That's the plausible deniability, right? That's how they justify it and, you know, explain it, right? Well, I'm just a knucklehead, right? Or I'm just a retard. No, you're not just a retard. You are a retard, Mr. Tim Walz, and a knucklehead, I guess, even though that sounds like some queer shit. But yeah, I'm sick of these people playing stupid with zero accountability. I am too. I concur. Big Mike's audit. Nicole 6969 says hi. How you doing, Nicole? Delta County threatened me with arrest and made me leave the courthouse for videoing. The only courthouse I videoed up here that kicked me out so far and threatened me with arrest. Huh. Yeah, I might have to go pay him a visit then. I have to go check him out. Did you sue him? Think I saw you on AFA. You did. Wanda. Mike. The Constitution doesn't grant rights. Rights are a contract. The Constitution is a boundary made to hold the government's actions at bay. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, as you can see, the government, you know, they just do whatever they want first, and then, you know, maybe you can figure it out later after 6 months, after they've already made you serve the sentence. Then maybe you as a peasant, they'll finally give you your rights, right? Your Constitution. So-called authority, yeah. Constitution turned into a feel-good love letter I attend. Text the talk stakes again. I'm off the belief that some of these paper-pushing bureaucrat government employees can be replaced with AI and computers. Oh, no, they absolutely can, Big Mike. That's the thing. 70, 80%, 90% of these paper pushers, right? These people, like, which is virtually all of the local government nowadays, most of the state and most of the federal. Yeah, oh, absolutely. They're terrified of artificial intelligence. Make no mistake about it. The artificial intelligence threatens not only judges and lawyers, but, you know, rank and file government employees. I mean, it really threatens all of these parasites' livelihoods. So, you know, and I'm talking like fire department, right? Which, again, you know, people seem to like want to have the kid gloves when it comes to the fire department. People want to be like, oh, not the fire department. Yeah, sadly, them too, guys. Sadly, them too. They're the chief reason why the city of Wayne's getting sued, because of their fire marshal, right? The fire marshal is a dumbass, and he's a fucking idiot, and he's clearly illiterate and doesn't know how to, you know, doesn't have any authority to legislate, for one. but seems to think he does, still seems to think he has legislative authority, and that he can legislate into law, right, with just a stroke, not a stroke of a pen, right? He just typed something up, didn't spell check it, didn't punctuate it correctly, didn't fix the run-on sentences, didn't fix all the contradictory and vague language, and just said, fuck it, send it, right? And boy, did he send it. He sent it straight to the city website, or somebody did. We're still waiting on video discovery so we can find out, well, who controls this City of Wayne website? Who's the one whose finger, right? Who makes the decisions, right? Like, is it the same person that deleted the independent workplace assessment off the City of Wayne website back in 2018, 2019? Was it then? Right? Is it the same person? Right? Is it the same person, or is it somebody else? And who's the employee? And we want to see the log. We want to see the data log of it, right? And so that's absolutely the truth, man. And I think more and more people are realizing just how redundant and how unnecessary a lot of City of Wayne police are, right? Or not City of Wayne, but government employees, right? More and more people are noticing, like, man, we don't need all these cops. The only thing we need is paramedics that can get to somebody in time to save their lives, and that's it, right? And the fire departments, perverse their way into that. Well, now, oh no, we're paramedics too. Well, yeah, but we can contract all this shit out, guys. We can save the taxpayers. The taxpayers in the city of Wayne have been abused for so long, right? For so many decades, that they just deserve to pay as little as taxes as humanly possible. And that's the agenda. That's the campaign. And this idea that we're just going to throw our feet up and throw our hands up and say, oh, it wasn't me, it ain't my problem, it's her problem. Nope, it's over my head. You're the city manager. You're there's no one over your head. You are the head. So what's over you? God? Yeah, well, God, that's basically how they act with this shit, right? Like, well, if the city manager's telling you something's over her head and you're in her city, well, then who has more power than the city manager? I guess some sort of a judge, maybe? I guess maybe a judge, maybe, or Mike lawsuits. Mike lawsuits are free to file under forma. Yeah, Big Mike, dude, you gotta use chat, dude. Get the chat going and take that shit to the internet, man. Have the people look it over, review it for you. No, I mean, shit, man. How long ago was it? I'll pay for your lawsuit. Shit, man. Yeah, Mike, lawsuits are free to file. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you don't got to be an attorney, man. What up, what up, Zanron? What up, dude? When you gonna pull up, dude? Oh. But yeah, we gotta keep having some fun for sure. gotta meet up. Talk business. Yeah, because I want to raise money so we can do a digital billboard out front. And then we can basically let the people decide what stuff they want it to advertise, right? And so that's one way I was thinking about it. Although, I mean, I can definitely by next year, I'll have the money to do a digital billboard. And might even have it this year. Oh, no, actually it is this year. So yeah, I'll have money this year to do a digital billboard. Because yeah, that's the next move, right? Digital billboard, or I like the Sean Paul Reyes idea, a digital like a billboard truck, right? So that way you can just park it in your driveway and just have it play advertisements all night, or both, right? I think a digital billboard and a truck. Yeah, I mean, I hear you, Wanda. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, they want. It's all about the formality, right? You know, your rights are secondary to their formalities, um, to their procedures and their formalities. Your second right, your civil rights and your property rights and your constitutional rights. Well, those are all just, they take a back seat, right, to the formalities and the procedures. Oh yeah, they love that. That's what they hide behind, right? That's what the courts hide behind, right? So they don't have to rule on issues, so they don't have to promptly, do shit, right? Where they have to like, hey, was there actual probable cause for any of these charges? And the answer, of course, is no, there was not any probable cause what the fuck soever. So, that should be, hey, the judge gets fired and goes to prison. That's what it should be, right? That's all it should be, right? You want to play with people's lives and play with the lives of their children and their families, and you want to play God, so to speak. Well, playing God comes with ultimate responsibility, right? You want ultimate authority with none of the responsibility, and it's like, well, name me any other profession in the world where it works like that, right? Name me any other high-paying profession where it works like that, and I ain't found one yet, besides king and ruler, right? Other than that, no, it's not how it works. But yeah, it seems to be how it works in a lot of these courts, especially the smaller the court too, the more kangaroo it is, right? But at the end of the day, um, more or less, they all have kangaroo elements, right? Banana Republic elements to them, for sure. But the world's a fucked up place, man. The world's a fucked up place. United States, like I said, I'm gonna try to do everything I can, to. You got court coming up tomorrow? No, not tomorrow. I got court coming up on the 8th. I believe it's the 8th. I'll have to check. Yeah. The 6th or the 8th. I believe it's the 8th. Yes, the 8th. Yep. I got court coming up on the 8th. I got a, what is it called? Oversight or something along those lines. I don't know what that means, but, I filed my motions and now I got them all printed out in front of me. They're all just a couple pages a piece, just like they wanted, right? Because they don't want to read no long, drawn out. Nope. 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 So just gave them 2-3 pages, right? And some of them were only 1 page, right? So 2-3 pages, and then certificate of service, right? So yeah, but yeah, lawyers are really the problem with America in general. Is way too many lawyers, and lawyers that are unethical need to be, in my opinion, they need to be shot, right? They need to be fucking executed live on television, right? They need to be taken in front of a fucking a court, a tribunal, and military tribunal, and that's it. Court-martialed, and that's it. Hey, you unethically, we can provingly demonstrate that you knew something, had knowledge of a law, had knowledge of evidence that you withheld or suppressed or just ignored, and you were working in collusion with somebody, and it should be very liberal, right? Like we should be able to take great inference, right? When it smells like a duck and it looks like one and it walks like one, well, it might just be one, right? And that's really the problem with our system, is like, you know they pick and choose, right, which portions of the law they want to enforce. And then they'll put these like clauses in like, oh, well, if any of this is deemed to be invalid, everything else still applies. And I mean, these people, like I said, they're just fucking scum of the earth, right? And then the city of Wayne on December 3rd, right, they go and pass ordinance 2025-02, right? Which effectively outlaws recreational fire pits, with 99.9% of the fucking properties in Wayne, right? 50 feet from a structure or a property line, and it must be in the rear yard of the house. Well, that eliminates Al Haynes' fire pit in his front yard. Well, the former mayor of Wayne, well, that's now illegal because that's not the side yard, or that's not the rear yard, rather. It's definitely the front yard. So, basically, I'm the only property out here, right? Because here's the video, right? Here's the property line, right? That we'll say roughly that pole is the property line, right? So it's got to be 50 feet. So we'll just say right where the stump is. That's like, say right over there. We'll make sure though. We'll measure it out. We've already done it. We've actually already got them laid out. But yeah, I don't want to give away any intel to the Wayne PD that are listening in. The big bad Wayne PD. But yeah, we have a 300-foot wide property here, so we're going to be, one fire pit right here, right? And then might even put them crossed in the woods here. I don't know yet. But then, of course, they'll say, "Oh, you're gonna light the woods on fire," right? So that's why we cleared all this out. So there's nothing to catch on fire. That's why we cleared all this out. But of course, never underestimate how scum the city of Wayne will go. Like I said, guys, the saga continues, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Wouldn't have it any other way. I love to inconvenience and to make cucks fear for their jobs, right? They want to violate my rights. Well, let's try to get that job of yours taken from you, buddy. We'll see how you like that. See how your kids and your wife and your family likes it too. Yeah, daddy lost his job because he decided to fuck with a disabled veteran and break into his house to enforce a law that doesn't exist without a warrant. Yeah, that's why he lost his job. And then, what they're going to say is, wow, what a dumbass. Why was he harassing this veteran? Well, because, he said some mean things on Facebook. Well, I thought we lived in America and I thought people had, a right to free speech. Right. Well, Wayne, Michigan obviously is no longer America. Right. That's the obvious conclusion that we can make here, is that the city of Wayne, Michigan is not America. Right. If you can't say mean things on Facebook about people that you don't like, especially people that work for the government, right, which is even more absurd, is, these are government servants, right? These are public servants, right? And the Constitution expressly allows you to sharply criticize and verbally attack your elected officials or just people who work for the government in general, period, right? So it's awfully fucking strange and peculiar that the second a disabled veteran, somebody who fought and got injured in the line of duty to defend these rights, someone who fought for these rights and got injured in the line of duty to defend these rights, they're not allowed to exercise those rights. And if they do, then they have to spend months upon months upon months upon months, right, of their freedom deprived of them, right? Just thrown in a cage, locked away without a key, and forced against your will to eat and be in an environment that you don't want to be in, right? To eat food you don't want to eat, food that, is actually medically harming you because you have Meniere's disease and you're prescribed a low sodium diet, and hence the word disabled veteran. And, you're not given those medications for that condition, and you're not given, obviously, no low sodium food, and, because they don't have a low sodium diet there. They have a low fat diet. They have a diabetes heart diet, right? Heart health diet, right? Which is a joke. It's the same shit. It's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Why didn't the truck work out so well for Long Island audit? What's up with the truck? Did he, they probably said it was unsafe or too distracting, right? I only submit affidavits or statements. Motions give the court jurisdiction over you. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, Wanda? I'd love to hear your thoughts. The other night, me and Wolverine was looking for you. Came across the cop that arrested you. He didn't want none of us. Oh, that's great, dude. Make sure you tell him he's a cuck bitch. And tell him I'm going to fuck his wife and his sister if he has one. As long as they're over the age of 18 and fully able to consent. Tell him I'm going to fuck his wife and his sister in the ass. And fuck him. He's a piece of shit. Complete and total piece of shit. No, don't tell him that, obviously. It's just a joke, guys. Holy shit. But, you know, it's a figure of speech. I have a right to speak and say what I want. So he can fuck off. He can suck my 8-inch dick to the balls. 8-inch dick to the balls. No, he can't, but his sister can or his wife can. As long as, like I said, they're consenting of age, of course, all that. But, yeah, fuck that piece of shit. Yeah, arresting someone over a conditional bond violation, right? Well, that's not a compelling reason to violate the Fourth Amendment, right? So, and of course, you know, the city of Wayne in previous encounters has been told at length to not step foot on the property, to meet me at the public easement, at the sidewalk or the road, but to not use my curtilage. And so, well, they violated that. Of course they did, right? Because why wouldn't they? If you think of having a time for bong rip, no bong rips over here, buddy. That's too much work. That's called drug paraphernalia. We don't partake in drug paraphernalia. Drug paraphernalia is bad. They used to take people's houses. The state of Michigan, the Michigan State Police and the county sheriff's office and the city police, they used to do civil forfeiture. That's why they're so mad about marijuana, right? And they're not making the money that they used to make off marijuana. Because all the money that they would make off civil forfeiture and, you know, taking people's houses and putting them in a cage because they smoke marijuana. Well, now they can't do that anymore. And so now it upsets the powers that be. So, you know, and then the Supreme Court said, you know, just because they smell weed, that doesn't mean anything. It's subjective. So now they're mad about that, you know. Scum gonna scum, guys. I mean, what can I say, you know? What can I say? The courts operate on an implied consent that you accept to defend their claim against you. Okay, well, how do you opt out of that, right? How do you, I mean, how do we opt out of that, Wanda? Your correspondence grants their thought of you giving consent to accept their action. Well, as you said, what if you just did affidavit and statements, right? I don't give consent to their unlawful actions against me. Well, I mean, I don't think it sense to go into jail, right? I mean, some people probably do. But yeah, generally I would think, but yeah, that's their retard logic. That's their we can bend anything and make it fit into a pretzel and do what we want logic, right? I demand they submit proof to do anything to me, charge me, prosecute me, or to use force against me. Email me something, Wanda, what that would look like for you. When you say I demand they submit proof, send me some of your motions. Demand that they prove they have jurisdiction and authority over you and place it into court record as evidence. Right, but what happens if they, you know, because obviously they control the register of actions. And that's what we've seen in the city of Wayne, Michigan, you know, in my case, right? City of Wayne, the 29th District Court, and the 35th District Court, they have cooked the ROA, the Register of Actions. The 29th District Court certainly has. And they've kept anything off the Register of Actions that isn't in their favor, right? Because, like I said, it's a citywide coordinated effort to persecute a disabled veteran, a protected class of person, right? And yeah, the fact that anything, like I said, people are watching them, but it is a disgrace that somebody literally has to fall on the sword, just to have a trial, right? And then still denied a trial, right? Oh, you got to sit in jail for another 2 months. You already served the sentence. We already can't hold you any longer, but we're going to hold you some more for 2 more months because you demand a trial. And then you demand to pro se file your motions, which you've already filed these motions, right? These motions have already been filed, mind you. But the courts are too fucking lazy, and they don't want to have to look through it, right? They don't want to be burdened by, oh, well, we got to read an 80-page motion. Well, yeah, sometimes it takes 80 pages to describe in great detail the violations that have occurred against you, right? Some things are, because that was one of the city of Wayne's strategies that they employed, was they employed this strategy of, trying to make this as complicated as humanly possible. So that way, it's like I said, plausible deniability. Make it as complicated as humanly possible, so it slows the proceedings down. And then, of course, the courts are lazy. They don't have time. They don't hire enough people. And, like I said, it's a joke. It's kangaroo court. So, and then, of course, judge is, I don't know. I can't really speculate on what the judge is doing, but, man, it is awfully strange, I will say. It is awfully strange. All of the clear improprieties that have occurred against me. And it's really strange that the transcriber won't release the transcripts unless I pay them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, even though I was already declared indigent and I'm appealing the case. So that means I'm entitled to the transcripts at public expense, right? But of course, here we are, right? So yeah, it is awfully strange, and strange indeed. Yeah, I mean, but what happens if they, you know, what if the court record, like that's what they did in some of my transcripts already, I've noticed, is certain words they'll just say it's inaudible, right? Even though it was clearly audible, but they'll say it's inaudible because it's a word that they don't, that doesn't favor them, right? That, you know, yeah, try to get everything on the court record. That's why I had to fire William J. Mays and Jermaine Warwick. I had to fire Gary Russell. I had to fire all three of these fucking dipshits. It's amazing, right? They have an endless appetite for money, but they don't have time, right? They don't have time for nothing. And, oh, there's no guarantees. It's like, imagine any other business in the world, right? Where it's just like, yeah, there's no guarantee that we're going to get any result here, but, you're paying me for my time. You're paying me for my time and my expertise. And I'm like, well, if your expertise doesn't lead to anything positive, well, why would I pay you? Well, like I said, when I was going, lawyers to me are worse than used car salesmen, for sure, right? Because the used car salesman, at least it's an honest business, right? Like you have a car, you want the car, okay, this guy's got to make a commission. There's got to be a profit to be had, right? And it's the honest business, right? I wouldn't say that it's like obviously a lot of that's where the stereotype comes from, but like you'll go to a car, that you're gonna have to pay more than what they bought the car for, and the guy's got to make a commission. And he's trying to sell you shit, but you kind of know he's trying to sell you shit. Well, it's like that. You get that type of energy at these law offices, but it's just like, really predatory shit, right? And they just look at you as someone, oh, I can make $20,000 or $30,000 off this person. I can really capitalize on this tragedy, capitalize on it by not filing motions to suppress or motions to dismiss, which obviously clearly are indicated. Nope, we're just going to play along and we're going to keep on keeping on because, the more that we go through this, the more money we make, right? So the more that we keep this facade going, every appearance that I show up at, well, that's thousands of dollars. I need $2 or $3 grand a day to set in court, right? Some need more. I need 5,000-10,000 a day. That's my daily jury trial fee, right? Something that could be easily dismissed on a motion, but that doesn't pay the money, right? The motions don't pay the money, right? The hearings and the appearances and the reappearance and the reappearance and the reappearance, right? That's what pays the money. Bleeding you dry over a long period of time, right? And unless you're going to slap 20 or 30,000 in front of them, which for what? 20 or 30,000 I got to give 20 or 30,000 dollars to a fucking crook like William J. Mays or Jermaine Warwick or Gary Russell or whatever the fuck his worthless old ass partner is. You know, you want me to pay you money for that level of fucking work, for that quality of work on a case that's a fucking slam dunk isn't even the word, dude. A fucking case that can't even legally exist, right? And you're sitting here playing games and trying to bleed my family dry of generational wealth and trying to put me in the fucking poorhouse? No, fuck you. Fuck you, William J. Mays. You're a fucking piece of shit, dude. You're a fat alcoholic piece of shit. That's what the fuck you are. You fucking look like a pig, dude. And you sweat like one too. And you're boozing so hard you smell like alcohol. I could smell alcohol when you came to my fucking fucking hearing, dude. When you appeared for me. I could smell it. I could smell it in your sweat. You're a fucking cow, dude. You're a fucking piece of shit is what you are, dude. William J. Mays. You ask him any critical questions about how he's handling this case, and he just, well, that's the argument. Well, that takes care of that, but you still got the assault charge. All the assault charge that we got on video, that we can fast forward it, and we can show you that the spit did not go anywhere near an officer, that I spit on the ground. So they're alleging that I spit on an officer's fucking shoe. And then you can clearly see nobody spit on an officer's shoe. There's the spit, and there's the shoe. Did the officer react? Nope. Officer didn't react at all. You know, but you'd ask him a few basic questions, and it became very abundantly obvious that it was bullshit, right? That it was all bullshit. That it's just a facade. They want to keep going. Oh, well, you're charged with these serious crimes, right? They're so serious that they don't want to bound them over to the Wayne Circuit Court. Man, so serious that they don't want Wayne County prosecutors to know about it. Man, so strange. They don't want Wayne Circuit Court knowing about it. So strange, isn't it? Yeah, you get charged with assaulting a police officer and resisting arrest and obstruction, right? But it doesn't get bound over to the Wayne County Circuit Court, huh? Well, they're saying, well, look, we could have charged them with whatever. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit, dude. There's the reason why you don't want it to be in the Wayne County Circuit Court is because you don't have any fucking hard evidence what the fuck soever that I committed any of these alleged fucking bullshit ordinance violations. And if it gets over to a real prosecutor and the actual evidence gets reviewed, they're going to laugh that shit out of the courtroom. And then they're going to focus the attention on the city of Wayne and go, man, this is really petty. This is like, there's no probable cause. Where is this coming from? You guys know who this is? Retaliation right there. So from the video, you can infer a couple things, right? That the previous interactions, even though I've never had any interactions with these police officers, not a single one, right? I stay on my property. I do my thing, right? I don't go and congregate with bums on the east side of Wayne, right? I'm not hanging out in the ghetto in the hood, right? That's why I live around this, guys. This is why I bought this house, right? So I can be around this, right? So all the bum shit going on down there across the tracks and shit, you guys can keep that, right? You guys can fucking keep that garbage shit. And so, but you can infer some things from the May 9th body camera. Oh, you guys know who this is. Okay, well, clearly there's some sort of previous encounter, or rather the city of Wayne has some preconceived notion, or they know me, right? They're admitting that. Well, what am I known for? Well, he's known for being on Facebook and posting very deflammatory, what's the word? Provocative content. He produces a lot of provocative content and he insults people and, whatever, right? Well, That's called First Amendment, guys, right? Well, that's bad for the city of Wayne because obviously, you know, I'm not going to shut up about their lawsuits, the Mark Blackwell, Lisa Noserini case, or the Anthony Miller case, or the murder of John Zook Jr. And on June 24th, 2024, that the City of Wayne Police Department executed John Zook Jr. In cold blood, right? But just type in John Zook Jr. on YouTube and you can watch for yourself the execution. His mother was kind enough to post the body camera footage because she wants the world to know what happened to her son. And, you know, I mean, who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't want, you know, obviously you want, you know, you want John to be remembered for what he was, which was a great father and a brave, fierce warrior, a soldier, and, you know, by all accounts, a great guy. But unfortunately, you also have to, you know, speak the truth. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the truth is insulting to these people. Yes, very much so. It's inconvenient to them. Yeah, she had to sue to get that body camera. Yeah, exactly. Exactly my fucking point. Of course she had to sue. What's the status on that? I know that case is going to be ongoing. Or did they find no let me guess. Just let me guess. Oh, I'm sure she did have to sue for that body camera footage. I bet she fucking did, man. Well, yeah, this is why we're doing this pond right here. We're doing this, you know, obviously for my aquatherapy project, you know, but we're, you know, mainly doing this to give a fuck you to the city of Wayne for John Zook Jr. And we're going to demand justice for John Zook Jr. every fucking day. We're going to demand justice for John Zook Jr. And, yeah, what I witnessed on that body camera was atrocious and, you know, a complete fucking disgrace. A complete fucking disgrace is what it was. A complete and utter fucking disgrace. And the fact that piece of shit, Jared Grombrowski, that cuck bitch faggot fuck, comes on my property on May 9th and then on May 19th and then spits in my fucking yard when he's walking on my fucking ground. Go fuck yourself, Mr. Grombrowski. Take your ass back to your piece of shit bungalow, bitch. Take your ass back to your fucking trailer, wherever you come from, piece of shit. Fuck you, Officer Grombrowski. You're the biggest piece of shit I've ever met in my life. You worthless piece of fucking shit. Yeah, the same motherfucker who murdered John Zook Jr. walks his fucking faggot fairy ass onto my fucking land without a fucking warrant. And without even a fucking law on the books to enforce, right? And I'm not supposed to talk about that, right? No, go fuck yourself. And then they want to give me a gag order because they don't want my YouTube channel to blow up. They don't want me talking about this. And every time I talk about something, oh, back to the dungeon you go. You violated your bond, right? No probable cause hearing. All this expulsionary evidence that was withheld in discovery for 5 months by the city of Wayne. And then they go to court and just play fucking stupid and incompetent. And the judge is like, well, he needs his discovery. And I'm like, okay, when are we going to do the Brady and Giglio sanctions, huh? When are we going to do those? Well, he needs his discovery. I said, well, it's been 5 months, dude. I've already served the sentence. And now you're telling him, oh, I need my video discovery again? I said, really? Yeah, of course I want that fucking transcript, you fucking fat piece of shit, James Plakis and Brita O'Leary, you cunt bitch. Of course I want these fucking transcripts. So then somebody will look at your fucking register of actions and go, man, well, this register of actions and this transcript and the motions that were filed and the motions that Mr. McFarland gave us, the proof, everything he's emailed to this court, well, it's all mysteriously missing. And then, Jermaine Warwick on June 3rd, he appears. He files a motion for appearance and demands. The appearance is in the fucking ROA, but the demands are missing. Just conveniently missing. And then I go to court for, I guess, what would have been the only probable cause hearing on July 10th. And of course, you know, they meet in chambers for hours by themselves. Meet in chambers for fucking hours by themselves. And they cut a deal. Absolutely cut a deal. Abso-fucking-lutely cut a deal. And they said, oh, well, this is, you know, we can all profit off of this. Teach them a lesson, you know. Because, you know, and then Jermaine Warwick's up in there arguing that, well, I'm following the ordinance as it's written. And I said, motherfucking stupid, fucking illiterate, DEI fucking piece of shit lawyer shouldn't even have a fucking law degree, Warwick. I said, hey, genius, there is no ordinance. It doesn't exist, dude. It was never codified or enacted. Well, I guess that wasn't important enough detail to tell the court, right? That was inconvenient. Every time I would bring that up, he'd want to change the subject immediately. Even though I emailed it to him, there's a record of it, right? But that's how they play it. They'll just pretend like the record doesn't even exist. Like they'll pretend they weren't emailing you and texting you and you didn't send all this shit to them. And, they, you know, by them receiving that email, that's them, you know, acknowledging that they got it and that they opened it. Well, they'll just put their they'll put their earmuffs in and they'll put some sunglasses on and go, no, 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 I can't hear you. Close their eyes, right? That's the strategy. And I guess that, I mean, must be a pretty decent strategy. It sounds like it works quite a bit. Yeah. What a surprise. All of their body camera came up missing. When they arrested me, the body cam, car cam, and the footage from the police station somehow just disappeared. Oh, yeah, they did that to me on May 19th, right? I filed a citizen's police report when they assaulted me and broke into my house again. And the city of Wayne just says, yeah, you know, we don't, Deputy Chief of Police, Chief Carter. Yeah, the motherfucker that lost his qualified immunity in the Blackwell case when he was a lieutenant, and then he gets promoted. Gets promoted for knowingly violating somebody's fucking rights. Gets promoted, gets a promotion out of it. Yeah, I file a citizen's complaint on May 21st. In the citizen's complaint form, he says he reviewed all body camera, police reports, everything. I go to the police station to get the police report. He says none exist. No police report even exists. I said, really? You had all these cops at my house for an hour, and one of your officers assaulted me, but there's no police report. Isn't that interesting? Of course, yeah. And then what am I hearing? All their body camera came up missing. I go nowhere in the city without recording nowadays. Yeah, I mean yeah, you fucking right. You goddamn fucking right, dude. People were talking to me about, oh, you need to put hidden cameras in your car, on your house, everywhere you can, and I'm like, yeah. On your person, right? And the sunglasses you wear and the glasses you wear, yeah, you got to have fucking cameras. You goddamn right you do. Of course, you got a video. Yep. Well, that's going to be the standard, right? In the city of Wayne, that's got to be the standard. And you know, really, yeah. I mean, well, that's the thing, right? People that aren't up to corrupt shit, right? They don't, like, I don't mind cameras. You know, I don't mind wearing a body cam because I don't do criminal shit. Now, City of Wayne, though, man, they're scared, man. 48 hours. I got to give them 48 hours written notice to walk into a government building, right? Because they're so scared of those cameras, man. Those cameras are, they notice things, right? And, man, they don't like it when they don't control the cameras. They don't like that. No, they don't like that. But, and we'll take care of them. Fuck the city of Wayne. Fuck the city of Wayne. But we'll get them. We're getting these tyrants the fuck out of office. And then we're going to be auditing and seeing what they've been up to. And then we're going to be filing criminal charges against them. Because that's what the fuck they are, is criminals. Absolute criminals. Right? And, yep, enforcing laws that don't exist against disabled veterans. Yeah, that one's never going away. Just like the murder of John Zook Jr. That's never going away either, bitch. So, Zook Pond's coming, guys. Oh, yeah, you record them. Yep. Yep, Zook Pond's coming, guys. And there'll be a big sign that says, fuck the city of Wayne, and it'll have a picture of that faggot, Grombrowski, right in the front. Grombrowski's a piece of fucking shit, is what he is. And that's the motherfucker who broke into my property on May 9th and May 19th. I don't know, July 5th. I don't remember I don't recall July 5th. But Elzabadi, she's the other big piece of shit. Yeah, big old piece of shit. Yep. Civil rights abuser. Habitual civil rights abuser. So, we got something for him, guys. It's called 1983. 1983. So, talk to you guys next time. Appreciate the engagement, guys.